Okay, so the rain stopped, the sun's out, but it's still very cloudy. This has to be the best weather. So I just came back from the gym and having a quick coffee shop time with my wife. I just want to talk a little bit about moving on in life. There's times in our lives where we know deep inside that we have to move on from a current situation. It could be from a relationship, it could be from a job, it could be from a routine in life, it could be from moving on from a group of people, from a group of friends, whatever it might be. But we have this feeling within that we know it's time to move on. I want to share a personal story. Just about 2 years ago, I went through a similar situation where I knew deep inside, I knew that God wanted me to move on from where I was in life. I wasn't in a low point or bad point in life, but I wasn't in the best possible place that I could have been, in the place where I knew that God wanted me to be at. And it was so hard to kind of just move on from that, because when you do something for so long, when you have a routine, when you have a group of people that you're usually with the whole time, a group of friends, when your whole week depends on this one thing that you do, moving away from that, it could be kind of intimidating in a way, because you don't know what to expect next. You don't know how your life is going to look like if you move on from that. So it took me quite a while. I had to have I had to go through so much for me to finally take the step of moving on. And once I moved on, it was me and my wife, and we lost basically majority, almost like 99% of our friends. We had lost our friends. We've lost the place we would go to all the time. Basically, our whole life changed. And to turn away, we had to move on from that and understand that our life was going to look different from now on. And that might be scary for some of you guys. But at the end of the day, if you know it's time to move on, if you know that you're at a place where you shouldn't be, at a place where maybe you're not growing, you're not benefiting, you aren't, deep inside, right? I think you should take the step. I think you should take the step and trust God and trust what God is telling you to do. Because when we're in a place where we shouldn't be, sooner or later, we start to feel that distance. And I remember when we left, it took us around maybe like a year, I would say a year, until we finally had found a group of people, a group of friends where we were able to finally have friends and have people to hang out with. But for a whole year, it was just me and my wife alone. Thankfully, I had my family there with me, my blood family. But now our lives looks way different today than what it did 2 years ago. It's a whole different life. And the life that I have now, so I'm just going to turn around. The life that I have now is so much fulfilling, so much better than the life I had back then. I'm learning and growing so much. But if I wasn't willing to take a step of faith, if I wasn't willing to basically change, then I wouldn't be where I'm at now. And even through that, it was kind of uncomfortable for us to allow people back into our lives after you being alone for a while. You kind of close yourself off. So being able to have people that would love on us and people that would kind of take us into their life was kind of a blessing. And it just shows you the importance of having the community, the importance of having people in your life. But that year was the struggle. That process took a while. It wasn't from one day to another. It took around maybe 6 to 8 months of struggling with myself mentally, of having a lot of debates with myself, of speaking to my wife, speaking to my parents, speaking to family, speaking to people that I looked up to. Thankfully, there was friends I looked up to that gave me the good words, the good advice to move on. And yeah, it was just a lot of confusion, because you get confused. You know you want to do something different, but then you don't know if you're taking the right step. And sometimes you just gotta take a step of faith. You gotta show God that you are willing to risk, that you're willing to take a step of faith when He's telling you to take a step. You gotta show God that you're willing to trust Him. And that's really hard for so many of us to kind of trust and not have everything in our hands and not have a routine and not know what's going to happen next. We want to know what's happening next. So basically the point of this video is I just want to share with you guys that if you guys feel a sense that you guys got to move on, it could be from, like I mentioned at the beginning, a relationship, friend group, routine in life, from what we want to do as a career, anything, but you know there needs to be a change in your life. Often the times it's because there does need to be a change, not because you just it's not just happening for no reason. So yeah, thank you and have a good blessed morning.